Previously on Zero to Hero. In the last episode, we gathered some more items from Slayer, like the Hydra's Leather, giving us our best in slot melee gloves, reobtained the Osmumten's Fang from the Tombs of Amasket, started working on Yama contracts to work towards Radiant Oathplate, and even maxed my account. Starting us off in this episode, I'm doing some Team TOA. I think this is the first time this has happened to me at Baba. Watch this. Yeah, so I never knew that the projectiles from the sarcophagus could go over halfway through the room to the opposite side. Today I learned. So I just finished up a solo raid. We're heading into the treasure room.
Run.
And we didn't get a purple. We got some sharks and alks, which is decent, I guess. Next up, I'm doing a duo 450. We're at Akka, and I get hit with some unbelievable lag. Thankfully, I wasn't the one butterflying. This entire lag sequence is almost a minute and a half, and I've only ever had a similar situation like this happen to me once in the past, also at TOA. Shadow out already?
I'm back. Die. Oh my god, what the fuck?
Having finished my first contract in the last episode to recomplete the Grandmaster Combat achievements, I was one step closer to obtaining all Purifying Sigil pieces to obtain Radiant Oathplate. Starting us off in this episode, I decided to start working towards completing the Bloodied Blows contract. Let's see how that went. So I ended up dying there because I tried going for the big skip too early. This was bound to happen at some point, I guess.
Oh. Well, is this the same shit that happened to you? Oh my.
After all those contract attempts, I decided to break it up with a bit of Zulrah as I was still missing a Tanzanite Fang so that I could make my toxic blowpipe. Not a Tanzanite Fang, but that's my 4th pet snakeling from Zulrah. Very lucky on the number of pets I have here. I'm just missing the magma mutagen to green log this place now. Let's fast forward 50 kills or so. I finally get what I've been really wanting to get back from Zulrah, the Tanzanite Fang. Super random, but I decided to do a bit of Huey with the boys to try and get lucky in Spooner Dragon Hunter 1, but I just ended up getting some Huey hides. That's a master clue step unlocked. Another solo TOA. Another white chest. Dupe Sun Jewel though. More team TOA with the boys, and we see a purple. Let's see what it is. No split for the team, but it's still nice to see a purple. Another purple, but this time in my name. With this rebuild, I'm basically praying that I get super lucky on reobtaining my items, especially at raids. Another Fang, some money for the main for splits. With contracts being a large focus for me, I figured I'd start learning no-fly so that when I started working on the glyphic attenuation contract, I'd be much more prepared for it. It took some trial and error to get the method down, but I feel like I picked it up relatively quickly. I'm not perfect at it, but I think I'm good enough for the purposes of completing the contract. Now that I was maxed, I felt more inclined to do clues now since the max cape has so much utility packed into one inventory slot. So I did just that. I started doing my clues. In this clip, I open up 1 elite, 2 easy, and 2 mediums. This small opening gave me 2 collection log slots. Not really a whole lot, but number went up. Progress. I started focusing on the Dragon Warhammer grind a bit more now that I had my blood pipe, so that I had a defense reducing weapon for the glyphic attenuation contract, since Yama is weak to crush in that contract. I end up getting a longbow. Back at Yama doing another bloodied blows attempt, but it goes about as well as you'd expect at this point. Put the Tim on my back at the end of this warden. Let's see if we get rewarded for it. Unfortunately, no purple this raid. We do get a dupe thread though, I guess. Nothing notable outside of that though. Some more progress on the no-fly. Let's see an example P3 with the practice I've done so far. I messed up a bit here and I definitely should have ate, but the boss was almost dead anyway, so I just kept hitting Yama. During my no-fly practice, I end up receiving a forgotten lockbox. Let's see what's inside. Just some dragon darts. Moving on over to Duke, I mentioned in the previous episode that I was here in search of one of my remaining 2 Soul Reaper axe pieces. I end up getting a Duke Virtus top. That would have been so nice if that was a Virtus row bottom. Roughly 70 kills later, and we finally get the Eye of the Duke, putting me at 3 out of 4 Soul Reaper axe pieces. Just 1 more to go, the Leviathan's lure. I immediately head over to Leviathan and begin working towards my final axe piece. This next series of clips are just notable drops like Onyx Bolts, a random Smoke Quartz, a new milestone KC for me here at Levy, and confirming how many rolls I have towards my next Venator vestige. Time to open some more clues. This time I have 2 of each easy, medium, hard, and elite. I didn't realize until I ran off to go do more TOA, but those new Zami pages greenlogged my shared treasure trail rewards section in the collection log. Pretty cool. More Team Toa. We got a purple, and it's in my name. Let's see what we get. Masori chaps are new for me, so that's nice to see. Always a good feeling getting a new item. Go for the back-to-back, but it's never the back-to-back purple. Over a 1 mil loot chest. The D-Meds and Dragonstones carried it though. We got more clues to open, maybe some more clogs. I also forgot to put the final pages into the Unholy book earlier when I got the new Zami pages, so I did that here. Back to some more bloodied blows attempts. I noticed while I was doing these attempts that I was dying to really simple mistakes, like not switching my prayer, or misclicks, as you just saw and will see. There's that misclick I was talking about. I felt like I wasn't making much progress at the Bloodied Blows contract, so I decided to switch it up and try some more sensory clouding contracts. But this time, using Red Eye Jedi's sensory clouding method. Simple clouding, which seemed really promising and simple to grasp. Here's my first attempt using that method. For my first attempt, I felt way better about how far I got and how easy it was to recover whenever I made mistakes. So I tried again since this was still fresh in my head. I made it way farther on my second attempt, only dying to running out of food using this new method, and I knew I was going to get it soon. So I tried again. The kill was over, and I had done it. Arguably the hardest contract was complete, and that meant that it was only going to get easier from here, completing the remaining contracts. With sensory clouding out of the way, I began doing more divine severance attempts, since that was probably going to be my second hardest contract for me in this gear. I can't one-shot the orbs that spawn in, so these attempts were going to be pretty long. One thing I definitely struggled with in this contract was prioritization of void flares when the double flare spawn and the random flare spawn happened at the same time. It was really confusing. This is the first time I reach P3 for this contract, and I get a bit flustered trying to process dealing with 4 void flares when I can't one-shot some of them. Another failed attempt. This time I teleported out though to save me some death costs. In this attempt, Yama is less than 10% of its HP. I realize I can do this if I just take my time dealing with the void flares, even when I know that Yama could die in one more hit. And there it is. That's Divine Severance completed, with that kill taking just over 16 minutes to complete. Not being able to one-shot the void flares really adds up in time during that contract. With just 2 contracts remaining until Radiant Oathplate, I really only had one option left since I still hadn't gotten my Dragon Warhammer back yet. So I sent some more Bloodied Blows attempts. Having just done Divine Severance, my prioritization for this contract had also improved, since I still lacked enough damage to one-shot Void Flares at a comfortable enough HP, so I often had to two-shot Void Flares, something I did a lot of in Divine Severance, and for much longer. There's yet another contract completed. Only one remained, and that was Glyphic Attenuation. I still don't have my Dragon Warhammer back yet, so off to the Lizardman Shamans I went. To no one's surprise, I did end up getting my Dragon Warhammer back, and this one only took a little over 2,000 Lizardman Shamans, so not too shabby on the re-up. Now that I had my Dragon Warhammer, I was ready to tackle my final contract, the contract of Glyphic Attenuation. Now I will preface this by letting you know I did try this contract a few times before re-obtaining my hammer by using a barrel chest anchor as my defense reducing special attack weapon. But let's just say that that weapon really sucks at draining defense, and I basically couldn't hit Yama at all. Anyways, this was my first attempt of this contract with the Dragon Warhammer. Let's see how it goes. got a little shaky near the end there, but we managed to secure the kill, and that secured us our final piece of the Purifying Sigil, allowing me to now convert my Oathplate to its Radiant counterpart. Our challenge was over. Now in terms of attempts/contracts to achieve Radiant Oathplate, in order from least to most attempts, 2 attempts for the contract of Forfeit Breath, 6 attempts for the contract of Divine Severance, 6 attempts for the contract of Glyphic Attenuation, 11 attempts for the contract of Sensory Clouding, and finally, 20 attempts for the contract of Bloody Blows. I was fully expecting Sensory Clouding to take the most attempts, but I made many simple mistakes to Bloody Blows. Oh, and I forgot to include this earlier, but now I'm 2 out of 3 on the Venator Vestige as well.